You've felt it before. That sinking moment when you asked for something you needed, a raise, a favor, a simple yes, and watched the other person's face harden into a wall of polite rejection. You think it's your delivery, your timing, maybe even your worth. It isn't. What you're experiencing is a psychological defense mechanism, so deeply embedded in human wiring that most people deploy it without conscious thought. They're not rejecting you. They're protecting their sense of control. But here's the thing most people will never tell you. There's a counterscript. A behavioral pattern so elegant, so invisible, that when executed correctly, the person saying no will actually believe the yes was their idea all along. And once you see how it works, you'll never negotiate the same way again. Let's get the science out of the way first. The Pawn Gambit isn't manipulation. It's strategic concession psychology, a term pulled from behavioral economics and game theory. It exploits what researchers call reciprocity bias and the contrast principle. Here's how your brain is wired. When someone gives you something, even something small, your neural reward system lights up and creates what psychologists call a social bet. Brain hates being in debt. It will look for the fastest way to repay that feeling. But here's the kicker. The contrast principle means that after you've been presented with something big and scary, anything smaller feels reasonable, even generous. The Pawn Gambit combines both. You intentionally sacrifice something small, your pawn, to make the other person feel like they've won. And in that moment of victory, their psychological guard drops. That's when you make your real move. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in the real world. Late 2019, a mid-level product manager at a Fortune 500 tech company in San Francisco is trying to get budget approval for a new AI feature. The executive team has already said no twice. The third pitch is her last shot. Most people would have walked in with a perfected slide deck, trying to sell harder. She did the opposite. She opened with this: I know we've discussed the full AI integration before, and I respect that it's not the right time. But I wanted to get your feedback on something smaller. A beta test with just 50 users in Q2. No major budget. Just enough to validate assumptions. If it doesn't work, we kill it. If it does, we revisit in Q4. Notice what she did? She sacrificed a pawn, the full product launch. She made the executives feel like they'd already won the argument. And then she offered something so small, so reasonable by comparison, that saying no would have felt petty. The CFO, who'd been the biggest skeptic, nodded and said, "That I can work with." 3 months later, the beta test showed a 34% engagement lift. By Q3, the full feature was greenlit with triple the original budget. She didn't win by pushing harder. She won by letting them think they'd already stopped her. But here's where it gets dark. Most people think the Pawn Gambit is about persuasion, about influence, about getting to yes in a world that loves to say no. That's the surface layer. What it's really about is control transfer. Think about it. When you deploy this correctly, you're not just getting agreement. You're engineering a reality where the other person feels smart for agreeing. You've turned their ego into your ally. They don't just say yes. They defend the yes to others because their identity is now tied to it. This is the same psychological architecture used in high-pressure sales tactics at US car dealerships. I can't do $40,000, but let me talk to my manager about $38,000. Political negotiations on Capitol Hill, offering a compromise bill. That was always the intended goal. Hostage negotiations, FBI. Conceding small demands to create reciprocity before the critical ask. And the reason it works so well in American culture specifically? Individualism? US psychology is obsessed with autonomy and personal agency. Americans hate feeling controlled. The Pawn Gambit doesn't trigger that resistance because it makes the other person feel like the architect of the decision. You're not taking their power. You're giving them a stage to exercise it on your terms. So how do you use this without becoming the villain in someone else's story? Here are the 3 core moves. Move 1. Anchor high. Sacrifice. Visibly start with an ask that's 30 to 40% bigger than what you actually want. Not absurd believable, but ambitious. Then, when you retreat to your real goal, it feels like a compromise. Example, you want to leave work at 4 p.m. on Fridays. Don't ask for that. Ask for a full remote Friday. When your boss hesitates, concede to leaving at 4 p.m. instead. Suddenly, you're the reasonable one. Move 2. Name the sacrifice. Don't just concede quietly. Call it out. I know you were concerned about X, so I'm pulling that off the table. This does 2 things. It shows you were listening. Social credit. And it makes the concession feel intentional, not desperate. Move 3. Embed the yes in their identity. When they agree, reflect it back as a character trait. I really appreciate how you always look for solutions that work for the whole team. Now the yes isn't just a decision, it's part of who they are. And people will fight to stay consistent with their self-image. Psychology isn't about tricks. It's about truth delivered strategically. Now, here's what you need to understand about 2026. You're already a target. Every app you use, every algorithm you scroll, every AI chatbot you interact with, they're all running versions of the Pawn Gambit on you. Think about it. Social media gives you free content to pawn. So you'll trade your attention and data. The real ask. AI assistants help you with small tasks to pawn to normalize reliance. So you eventually subscribe to premium tiers. The real ask. Streaming platforms offer you a free trial. The pawn. Knowing the friction of cancellation will convert you into a paying user. The real ask. The most dangerous thing about understanding this psychology isn't that you might use it unethically. It's that once you see the pattern, you realize how often you've been the pawn. Here's the truth they don't teach you in business school or therapy or those LinkedIn self-help posts. Influence isn't about being louder. It's about being smarter. The Pawn Gambit works because it aligns with how humans are already wired to seek autonomy, to avoid loss, to reciprocate. You're not hacking people. You're speaking their brain's native language. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. You'll see it in your relationships, your workplace, your own mind. If you want to go deeper into the psychology of control, the techniques interrogators, cult leaders, and master negotiators use to bypass resistance entirely. That's next. But fair warning, that one doesn't come with an ethical safety net. Until then, play wisely.